I am here today to talk to you about a topic that I love, marketing communications. Now that is probably something you don't hear every day, but it's true. I love marketing communications. But what does that mean? Well, there are many different aspects to marketing. You got things like pricing, distribution, that type of thing. The communication side of marketing really deals with all the different ways that you can get the word out about something, right? It's just a fancy way of saying that. So, by show of hands, how many of you have ever played the game Whirly Ball? All right. Okay, so yesterday in rehearsal, nobody raised their hand. And I thought, am I the crazy one or are they the crazy one? So, TEDx organizers, go play Whirly Ball, right? Okay, so for those of you who don't know what Whirly Ball is, it's a fantastic game. You play it with your friends and family. It involves bumper cars. It involves banana scoop, a wiffle ball. Basically, I'm just telling you to Google it after this because it's awesome and you should all play. I say Google a lot. So two friends of mine actually like Whirly Ball so much that they left their jobs in Chicago and they moved to the Twin Cities in Minnesota to start a Whirly Ball there because they don't have one there. And as they're getting ready to open the doors for the first time, they've started receiving phone calls on a near daily basis with different advertising opportunities. That makes sense. And so as they consider each advertising opportunity individually, they actually all seem like great ideas. But they don't have all the time and the money in the world to make everything happen. So they'll get questions like, hey, are you interested in advertising in our community marketing calendar that goes out to all the local, we print it out, it goes to all the local homes in your area? That sounds like a good idea. They get questions like, are you interested in putting an ad on a placemat in the diner that's across the street from your Whirly Ball location? Sounds like a good idea too, right? But like I said, they don't have all the time and the money in the world, and those are just the opportunities that they're being presented with. They also have all their own marketing communication ideas as well, right? So they've created a website, they've built a Facebook page. The opportunities are seemingly endless in marketing communications, and they're constantly changing. So 20 years ago, every advertiser out there wanted to put an ad in the local newspaper in order to reach their target market. 6 or 7 years ago, every company out there wanted to go out to MySpace and reach their customers. How many of you have ever had a MySpace account? Okay, that's good. But things change, right? Things change. So how do businesses prioritize marketing communications when everything's changing all the time? That's what I'm really passionate about. That's the challenge that every business today is facing. And it's really difficult, in particular, for small businesses and nonprofits that probably have very little to no marketing resources at all. Noted psychologist Barry Schwartz wrote a book called The Paradox of Choice. He gave a TED Talk of the same name. It's one of my favorites out there. And in that talk, he describes how when human beings are faced with an endless amount of choice, it actually damages the human psyche. It paralyzes us. It renders us incapable of making decisions, at least to a certain extent. So he says that in order for us to make the best decisions possible, we need to narrow down that endless list of opportunities, and we need, based on a certain set of criteria, and then we can really feel good about our decisions as we go forward. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm passionate about it. I am passionate about helping businesses, in particular small businesses and nonprofit organizations, narrow down with a certain set of criteria that I've created all the different marketing communications opportunities that are out there. So if you're thinking about starting your own business, if you're thinking about starting your own nonprofit organization, perhaps you're looking to ignite a little change of your own. That was the theme for today, right? Yeah, I got that in there. Maybe this will help you. But if you're just maybe thinking about one day, maybe you're already working at a great company, maybe you just want to get the word out about something else that you're passionate about, I hope what I'm going to present to you today will help you. So I brought today with me two different lists of this criteria that we're going to look at. And the first list is called the 5 marketing communication must-haves. There are 5 marketing communication tactics that are so important, you have to do all of these before you do anything else. In fact, if you have limited time and money, which everybody does, I want you to start with number 1, and I want you to go through as far as you can through number 5, and hopefully you can get through all 5, right? So without further ado, what is the most important thing you can do in marketing communications? It's that you can utilize your physical location if you have one. So if you have a store or any place that you interact with customers on a near daily basis, it is likely your most expensive asset that you have. So you really need to squeeze as much value out of that asset as you can. What does this mean in practical purposes? It means putting a great sign out front of your building. That's kind of an easy one. It just tells people who you are and what you do. It means if you have foot traffic by actual people walking by, driving, boating, whatever they do, it means putting out signs that say things like what your specials are and things like that, or giving away free samples, things like that. Now, a great example of this is the Chinese restaurant that's just down the street from my house. They do a great job of utilizing their physical location, even when disaster struck. This is a little hard to see, but a car drove through the front window and walls of this Chinese restaurant. It's very hard to see, but they boarded up the walls right here, and they spray painted a big thing that said open on top of it, okay? That's a great way, right? But that's not even the coolest thing. Watch for the coolest thing. The coolest thing is they put this sign on the front door. We are open. Come in and enjoy delicious Chinese food. Food was so good that a car had to come in as well. Good, right? That is an awesome way to utilize your physical location. So I want you to do as my local Chinese restaurant does and utilize your physical location. All right, the number 2 marketing communication must-have, or number 1 if you don't have a physical location, is that you need to build and maintain a website. A recent study by Google came out and said that 60%, almost 60% of small businesses do not have a website, which is really a shame because when you think about it, a website is one of the least expensive marketing communication tactics you can possibly implement. It gives you 24-hour access to customers and prospective customers, and you can control the entire message on the site. So everybody needs to have a website. Now, right next to that Chinese restaurant is my local dry cleaner. And super low-cost dry cleaner of Naperville, Illinois, has a website. It is literally a mom and pop shop. A mom and pop own the place. There are only 2 of them, but they have a great website. It lists their location, it lists all the services they offer, their prices, how to contact them, etc. So if they can do it, you can too. So I want you to do as my local dry cleaner does and build and maintain a website. Number 3, this one's easy. You need to offer a way to speak to somebody at your business. The most obvious way is with a phone line, right? You can also do advanced things like have a video chat or have just a regular chat feature on your website. Because nothing will ever replace the importance of human-to-human interaction when dealing with business. As a business, you can offer your customers empathy. You can upsell them on something if that's appropriate. You can just answer their questions and tell them where you are if that's what they need to do. So the best example I've ever seen of this is Mo, the bartender from The Simpsons. Now, Mo is a sole proprietor. He's a one-man band. He owns that bar, and he manages that bar. He serves all the drinks. And even he has a customer service line. And no matter how many times Bart Simpson will prank his customer service line, he answers that phone every single time, and he tries to give the best customer service possible, right? He always goes and looks for the person, whoever Bart's asking for. See more butts, all that. So I want you to do as Mo from The Simpsons does and offer your customers a way to speak to somebody at your business. Number 4, you need to be found by your target markets. Right now, all around this country and around this world, somebody out there is looking for whatever it is that you're selling or whatever cause you're supporting if you're a nonprofit organization. And it's really important to get in front of those people at the right time and the right place. Now, if this is happening online, and it's happening online, I work at Google, I'm telling you this, that means that you need to get in front of people. If you sell something, it means you need to show up on Google and on Bing. It means that you need to be on Amazon and on eBay if those are relevant to your business, right? You got to show up where people are looking for you. A great example of this that I hope will resonate with college students, as most of you are, is that I just recently did this Google search. I need pizza now. All right? And look at the first result. I did it from my house again. I use a lot of local examples. Scarpino's Pizza Delivery, right? That gives me the address, it gives me the store information, the pizza menu, the locations. It gives me everything I could possibly want to know about satisfying my need for pizza right now. So I want you to do as Scarpino's Pizza Delivery does and be found by your target markets. Number 5 of 5, the last one, the last thing that you must implement, is you need to engage customers within one community. So what does that mean? It means giving your best customers a way to interact with you and all your staff and your company and things like that, and a way to engage with each other. This can happen in a variety of different ways, but the most obvious one, the easiest one to give you would be something like a Facebook page, right? I can interact with this brand, they can answer my questions, I can put it out socially, things like that. But it doesn't have to be online. And the key thing is that you don't have to do everything when it is online. You don't have to be on Pinterest and on Twitter and on Google+. Well, you should be on Google+, but you don't have to be, you don't have to have a YouTube account and all these kinds of things, right? You don't have to do everything. You just have to do one really well. That's the key word up there, just one. And like I said, it doesn't have to be online. My local library has a wonderful kids program that my son attends quite frequently, in which anybody from the community can go and they can bring their children, and the children get to interact with the library staff. They build a community, right? They get to interact with other children. It's wonderful. So I want you to do as my local library does and engage customers within one community. All right, so we talked about the 5 marketing communication must-haves, right? That answered questions like, what should I do right now? But then there's all these other opportunities out there in marketing communication, kind of like I was telling you with my Whirlyball friends. So how do we make decisions? How do we set marketing communication priorities when we know that 5 years from now, everything is going to change? What do we do now, and how do we plan for the future? Well, I've created a second list that I brought with me today, and this is the list that I call 3 factors for setting marketing communication priorities. There are 3 factors by which you can measure every single marketing communication tactic idea out there. And these 3 factors can actually be summarized in just 7 words. Now it's getting late, so I'm going to go through these, but then I'm going to ask for a little audience participation, so just start getting mentally prepared, all right? So the 3 factors for setting marketing communication priorities can be summarized in just 7 words. And they are target markets, shareable experiences, and return on investment. Now, I need help here. I want you to say these with me. We're not going to say the numbers. We're just going to say those 7 words, all right? I need to hear it loud. They got to hear you at home. I got a lot of friends that are watching the live stream. They need to hear you, okay? So let's do it together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Target markets, shareable experiences, return on investment. Now here's the crazy thing. In rehearsal, I thought nobody's going to say anything. I'm going to have to do this again. I'm going to have to chastise people and say, this is TEDx. Millions of people are watching around the world, and they're going to watch this afterward. That was really good. But I still want to do it one more time because, you know, this is all timed out. This is scripted, right? Okay. So let's do it one more time so that everybody around the world can hear it. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Target markets, shareable experiences, return on investment. You have no idea as a marketer how happy this makes. It's just this is beautiful. People chanting about marketing, this is great. This is great. Okay. So to illustrate that, I want to give you an example. I want to give you an example that brings all 3 of those things together. And the example comes from a job that I used to work at before I came to Google. I used to work for a wonderful nonprofit organization called IES Abroad that's actually based here in Chicago. Now, I've actually talked to a few of you. How many of you studied abroad with IES? This is a lot of hands. That's good. Great. Did you like it? Good. All right. All right. So for 5.5 years, I worked in the marketing department there, and it was a wonderful experience. And so we had a very small but mighty marketing team that we took on the challenge in my last year there of we really wanted to come out with like a new branding campaign. Our goal was always to increase the number of students at local colleges who are studying abroad, right? So IS Abroad functions a lot like a college. We send US college students on study abroad programs, as many of you know. So we thought to ourselves, how can we appeal to our target market of current college students who had not yet studied abroad? That was our target market, okay? So what we came up with was a message that we called Your World Redefined. So to a potential student, a student just like many of you who are in college right here, the idea was that this message would show you that if you studied abroad, your world would be redefined. But then we wanted to go about activating this message. How do we get the word out? How do we tell people this in an open and honest way? Well, what we did was we came up with this idea. We printed on 8.5 by 11 white pieces of paper, plain as day, blank redefined. And we sent this to all of our current students who were studying abroad all around the world. Thousands of students were studying abroad. We just printed this on a flyer, sent this to them. And we said, would you please tell us something that has been redefined by your study abroad experience? And if you want to, would you please share that with your friends and family? The reaction and the creativity that came out of this was truly inspirational. College students are really creative. So I want to show you a few examples of how people started sharing this on their social media accounts. They started creating photos, they created videos, they took our message off those pieces of paper. I'm going to show you a few examples. Here's one. This is a student in Spain. She is at a soccer game, and she is showing you that football has been redefined to her by studying abroad. This student, a little hard to see, is in Morocco and riding on a camel. She is showing you that transportation has been redefined by studying abroad. These students, man, I'm telling you, in marketing, it is like the greatest thing in the world when somebody takes your slogan and does something else with it. These students put this on their t-shirts after they had run a race in Spain, and they were saying that working out had been redefined by their study abroad experience. These students are on the Galapagos Islands off the coast of Ecuador. They are having a class there, and it's hard to see, but that student in the middle's sign says that for her, class has been redefined by studying abroad. This student is near the Berlin Wall, and she is showing you how freedom has been redefined for her by studying abroad. Read it. College students are really creative. It's hard to get there. That's not the Machu Picchu overlook in Peru. That's hard to get to. Getting high has been redefined by studying abroad. I can't end with that. My mom's in the audience. All right. So last but not least, again, it's really cool when people take that off of your sign and they stick it on sand, for example. These students have written holiday redefined. They even used our brackets. That is so cool. So for their vacation, their holiday had been redefined. So now let's think back to what we talked about. Target markets, shareable experiences, return on investment. Our target market was current U.S. college students who had not yet studied abroad. This tactic had clearly reached those people because their friends who are already studying abroad were sharing all their stuff with them, right? They were sharing these pictures with them and videos and things like that. It was awesome. Speaking of sharing, shareable experiences, that was number 2, right? Clearly, we had created a shareable experience, and we had encouraged our current students to share that message and that experience with their peers, so it was great. Lastly, return on investment. I'm not going to go into specific details, but the campaign was very successful. This launched about 4 years ago. It still continues today. It was very, very successful. Our Small But Mighty marketing team won several awards when it came out, and it was great. Everybody loved it. They still continue to use it today, so it was obviously very successful. So that's really it. I've gone over you the 5 marketing communication must-haves. We've talked about the 3 factors for setting marketing communication priorities. And so I hope that if you're looking to go start your own business or nonprofit someday, again, igniting a little change of your own, I hope you remember these. But if the only thing I've done for you today is convince you that you need to check out Whirlyball, or that you need to study abroad if there's still time left, I think I'd be okay with that too. Thank you very much.